Hey, it's Cami here with Smart Social Secrets Tips Live. And I'm so excited to have all of you here today and my guest today, Becky Myers. And so I'm going to bring her right on in. I'm going to just jump in. So, Becky is amazing. She has a wonderful agency with Suzy Hartgrove called MyHart Communications. We've known each other for a while. It's been
I
probably a decade at least. So,
maybe I
I've
think it's longer.
it could be longer. And I've watched you grow as a professional and through all of the different areas. So you started on in inside PR, if you will, like working for a company, and slowly but surely came out, and now you have your own business. So I wanted to bring you in today and just talk to you about your journey and what you've done. So welcome.
Thanks, Cami. Love being here with you.
Yes, I love having you too. So there's so many things about you that people don't know, and I just want to kind of bring some of that to the fore. But one of the things that you are great at is storytelling, and that's really your focus is storytelling, which I think is amazing because those stories are what connect people with a brand, right? So, like with your clients, tell me about your process. Like, how do you bring a new client in and start working with their story?
Well, I think, the way to do that is to get to know the entity that you're working with, the organization and the people first. So we ask a lot of questions and we read about them. We find out what's out there and we get to know them about what they've already accomplished and what they're trying to do. And within that, we do a lot of digging. I like to dig and sort of find the little nuggets, the things that might uh, really get somebody's emotional heartstrings going, right? And get your attention. And I think whether that has to do with a really happy story and somebody's super successful, rah rah, or there's something maybe that has happened and we're trying to affect a change. You have to really build off of what the emotions are as much as you can in order to get people's attention.
That's great. So like, I think that's an amazing thing that I think that you do very well. I've seen you do it very well for many clients over the years, and so, um, but I just also want to bring in your My Heart Communications. I mean, so is that where that comes from? That My Heart Communication is the heartstrings, or so? Tell me about the name.
Well, okay. The name is fun because it's a combination between Becky Myers and Suzy Hartgrove. I have to give 100% credit to Suzy for that name. We went through the process of, oh, let's do the Google naming and all this and, go in and try to find a name and all of them were taken. And one night I was sitting at home when we were starting up the business and really getting things rolling, but we didn't quite have a name yet. And she texts me and she goes, MyHart Communications, MyHart. And I was like, it was a should have had a V8 moment. It was great. And our tagline is we communicate with heart. So we
Yeah.
really feel like that is at the heart of our business. It's the heart of what we do with our clients and anybody that we work with. Hopefully anybody that we just know. We like to just be heartful in what
Speaking of
we
people we
do.
know, I just wanted to say good morning to Anne and good
Hey,
morning to Eric. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us. So we're not here by ourselves. So if
hi,
you're out
Eric.
there watching, definitely let us know you're there. It's funny because the counter on here always tells me 0 because it doesn't count the people from LinkedIn for some reason. I don't know why. So let me know you're here. If you're here today, I would love to know. We can see you in the chat. So let us know you're here and be free to ask any questions as we go along. I want to make this interactive if we can. Awesome. So I love it. So the My Heart Communications, and you just said, pulling on the heartstrings. So I feel like all of this kind of goes together so well.
It does. It's intentional, but it's organic at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's just
Oh,
part of who
Molly. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Meryl.
Molly.
And Molly's here.
Hi,
Hi.
Molly. You know Molly.
That's so
Of
cool.
course you know Molly.
Um, I haven't talked to you in a while, Molly. I would love you. Oh, Holly is here also. Another
Oh my
thank
gosh.
you, Holly, for letting us know you're here, so we don't feel so lonely. So you've been My Heart Communications. You just celebrated an anniversary, right?
I know. Can you believe it? We are 7. 7. So what? We're still fun, elementary school kids.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Hi, Molly. So yeah, I think that's great. And I mean, 7 years, it just flies by so fast, right?
It does. And I think, the 1 year was a big deal because you lived through that first year
Mhm.
and we had made all the good plans and we were doing the good things. And I think for us, because we started in the summer of 2016, we had a lot of support around us and we had some great clients coming into it. But then, we were growing and growing, and then COVID hits, right? Like everyone else, we just sort of flattened out, but we kept going.
Yeah,
And here we are, and now we're back on this upward trajectory in year 7, and it's pretty
that's
cool.
great.
So we're very excited about the work we're doing
So
and
you
what
didn't get
we're
the
able to help.
7-year itch, like, you know.
Well, no, knock on
Right.
wood, right? No 7-year itch, only if it in a good way, I suppose, because just itching to help our clients and to help people in our community in particular. Most of our work is done in Houston. So we really like that.
Yeah, and I think that's great, and I love that. You do a lot of really great work that is like that brings the community to the fore, and you actually are helping the community to grow in Houston, which is just amazing. Now, a lot of people that are here with us today are also consultants like us. Like I have Zoetica Media, you have MyHart Communications, and as we all say, we don't compete, we cooperate, right? So we're cooperators, we're not competitors ever. And so, what advice would you give to up and coming consultants at agencies that you wish you knew when you first started?
I was lucky. I had some people who advised me when I walked out. I didn't really walk out, when I moved on from my corporate expertise and work.
Mhm.
And the things that people told me, there were several things. One is, it was financial. It's like save money for a rainy day, right? Take a
Mhm.
percentage of each check, save money for taxes, and then save money for like yourself, right? The rest of it, make sure you're putting in, you have a lot that goes into the business. I also was given good advice. And what I would say is, if you think you want to go out on your own, do it, but talk to a bunch of
Mhm.
people like us who've been through it,
Yeah.
and we can give you some really good tips on, what are the things you need to think about in terms of your structural startup, your financial startup. What kind of business do you want to go after? Who are your ideal clients? And I think what's important there is to think about, what you know how to do. What are your ideal skills? Are you a
Mhm.
good writer? Are you a good interviewer? Are you really good at thinking about the social media posts? Are you good at crisis communications? Maybe that's where you take a niche, or maybe you're really good at that back end digital marketing.
Mhm.
That's something I'm not super good at.
Right.
So I'd rather go find somebody else who's good at that. And Susie and I aren't around. We don't, that's a dark art for us, right? So
Mhm.
we just find people who are
You kind
better.
of know your lane, right? You kind of
We
know
know
where
your
you
goal.
fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, talk to people like us, make sure you have an attorney and a CPA before you start up, you file the right paperwork, get all these questions answered, because it will save you so much hassle and heartache if you
Mhm.
do that up front. So save a little money before you get started, but you also don't have to save that much.
No.
Just have enough to get you rolling, and have a client to start with is always very helpful.
Yeah, having a client is huge. I mean, that's sort of how I started, is that I left my old job and they wanted me to do one thing for them, and so they were my first client. So there's a lot of people that you can go back into your past, and they know your work, they know your work ethic, and
Right.
they may feel comfortable giving you a small piece of something that they want to get done. It was a really great way to start.
Definitely. And I think another thing that Susie and I did was and I did this in another time I started up, I created sort of an advisory board of people who
Mhm.
had different levels of expertise in different areas. And I asked them questions. And I said, what am I good at? What do you perceive? And this and that. And I asked some questions about myself, but also about what they thought I was good at doing in business. And you get some good, honest feedback that way. And
Yeah.
it really, again, it's helpful to understand the types of services or products that you might want to provide, right? And that
Mhm.
people actually need. You've got to go ask those questions too. And I would say in this case, one person told us, and Susan and I have both worked with her previously at the city of Houston. And she actually, they brought us our first client, where Susie's embedded
Okay.
with this particular client still.
Mhm.
And she said, sit down and have a conversation about your philosophies of life, about, how are you spiritually? How are all these things in your life? Because Susie and I started out as friends, and we agreed at
Mhm.
the beginning. We said, look, we're always going to be friends. That's a given. But how are we going to make sure the business doesn't interrupt that? So we really talked about, we're going to take off the friend hat and go, all right, Suzy, or all right, Becky, I'm looking at you when I say this. And so every
Mhm.
now and then, if we have to sort of correct a little bit with one of us, we do it. But it's 7 years. It's never been a problem. But sometimes we'll just have to say, okay, let's step back and kind of look at this from a different angle and a business angle.
Well, and if you have worked with legal ahead of time, you should have a contract for your for that between the two of you that's like a legal contract. Because
Yeah.
there may be a time that you have to separate the business for who knows what number of reasons, right? Somebody gets sick or somebody wants to retire or somebody wants
Right.
to move on to some big job that they got offered, and having a legal path to do that is like critical. I
Right.
mean, I had a partnership as well, and we did go our separate ways for various reasons, nothing
Mhm.
terrible or anything, but
Right.
um, having that in hand made it very clear how we were going to split the money, how we were going to split the clients, how we were going to split everything.
Yeah, it's the 3 Ds: death, divorce, and disability. So, and
Right.
once you have that covered, it's a peace of mind and you don't have to worry about it. So
Yeah.
you're done. You move on and you know that if something happens, you have that to refer to, and then you just sort of work through that if and when the time comes. And if one person's exiting the business,
Hmm.
hopefully not of death or disability or divorce in a bad way, that you just work through the timing together on that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, it really did make it all a difference for
It
me.
is.
Um, so we've talked about a couple of things, a couple of obstacles, but there's other obstacles. We're going to be talking here in a minute about your content and that kind of stuff, different marketing for the actual
Yep.
agency.
Yep.
Um, what have been your biggest struggles in running the PR agency?
I think with oh gosh, I knew this was coming and I had some
I
answers.
told you.
I know. I think part of it is just keeping going some days,
Mhm,
honestly,
mhm.
because you can get into overwhelm and you can also get into doubt. Not gonna lie, people, every business owner knows this, and this is my third iteration of having a business since 2005. And, the best iteration, by the way, Susie, I know you're out there, and everybody else,
Thanks,
by
Susie.
far,
You're best.
she is the best. I mean, it's just made it so much fun to have a partner for me
Mhm,
and together. But I think it's hard some days, and you have so many things to do, and there's only so much time in the day that we each have, and then we have people who work with us on a subcontract basis, and we are so lucky to have some brilliant people working with us,
mhm.
and we're
Same.
very grateful. So I think for us, I'm gonna go straight to it because I know this is where we're headed, but we always treat ourselves as the lowest price priority client, and that's something I discovered through working with you, and I was like, "Oh, you know, we could do better," and we deserve to treat our own business better. All of us do, right? Because it's
Yeah.
what helps us grow. We do it for everyone else. Let's kinda stop laughing at it. It is funny, but it's not funny because we really know how to do these things,
Yeah,
and
okay, so thank you for, like, hitting on that because I feel like that's one of the biggest problems that we have, and, there's a lot of, like, we will put our clients first, we will put our family first, we'll put everything in front of the business and, as a client, and so that's one of the things I learned, that I think that we've been talking about in Smart Social Mastery, which is, treating your business like a client. Like
mhm,
one of your clients and actually allocating resources to it, like a client.
yep. The so, I was kind of watching you, and I know we had one of our people in one of your
Mhm,
earlier courses, and, I learned from him what
mhm,
doing that with you, but then when the time came for one of us to join, I was ready to jump in because I thought, I needed the structure of how
mhm,
you approach your teaching in this course. And it's very simple. It's 2 hours a week plus maybe an extra hour, right? It's
mhm.
pretty straightforward. And what I've learned is that I can go at my own pace, which sometimes is forced on us, no matter
Slow,
what.
usually it's all of us are slow
I
sometimes.
know, but also because of the aforementioned, we have client work and we have things that come up, and some weeks are nuts, and I don't get to focus on this. But what I do like is that almost all weeks I can focus at least the 1 hour in the sprint, our co-working sprint, and then also in the teaching, the mastery
Right.
mode where you teach us.
Well, that was the one thing that the reason I started Smart Social Mastery was because I felt like we needed a place where we were like, we can keep learning all the time and learn and learn and learn, but I felt like we needed to actually take some action too. Like,
Absolutely.
so yeah, as you said, I did the Smart Social Secrets course a couple of years ago, and a whole bunch of different types of businesses joined. But I found that who I really enjoyed working with the most were my fellow public relations and marketing experts, because you guys know, it's not that you don't know what to do, really, but you need a pathway. So we call it the pathway to mastery. And it's just, making sure that you're hitting the right notes at the right time for your business, so that you are getting out there, getting that instant authority. Is what we're going to be doing. Authority, instant authority, as a free workshop here in a couple of weeks. I did put a link in the content upstairs there, but it is not live yet. It'll be live by this afternoon, I promise. I was having a little bit of a technical difficulty with it, but it'll be live this afternoon. But instant authority, you came to that, right?
I did. That was a while ago, feels
Yeah,
like.
about a year. It's been a year.
So, yes, and that's what fed me into this, I think, because you had one class before us for this, and I know a lot of our friends were in there and learned from it, and friends who are quite accomplished at doing social media, but I know they learned a lot too. So I think, the instant authority is a really good way to just get an idea of what we can learn from you, and I'm gonna push back on you and say that we know what to do, because that's not true. We know
Oh,
some of what
oh,
to do.
Sheena's here. Hi, Sheena.
Hi, Sheena, yay. Oh, good,
Um,
good. Sheena's in
yes.
our, cohort, so it's nice. Hi,
Yeah,
Sheena.
she's in, and Bart is here
Oh,
too.
hi, Bart.
Hi, Bart. Also
So
in
I
our
did see
cohort.
him come in.
Yeah,
But I do
good.
think, honestly, Cami, I've watched you grow. Okay, let's just go there. I was there when you started, what is it, Coffee Grounds, where you guys started up
Social
social
media
media.
breakfast. Yeah.
That was a long time ago. So that
Woo.
was at least 10
Almost
years.
14 years now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I love what you brought along with you and the people in the community, that we all just get to know each other and
Mhm.
learn from each other. If I don't know something, Anne will tell you I've called her. I think, I've learned from all these other people in our cohort. Yay. Hi, Anne. And I love having the community that you bring to the table. I'm a PR girl. I don't know social media unless it's organic. And by the way, Susan knows it a lot more than I do. She's very good, and she has good instincts and knowledge, and has put it into practice. So that's one of the reasons I came in, was to really up my skills and then go back and share with her. And the other thing I want to say about your course is, not only the structure is helpful, well, that's a double negative. The structure is helpful, and the content and that whole pathway. But what I like is, it's really gotten me to think again about, oh, who are the ideal clients? Who are all my partnerships? Thank you, Molly and Anne and Bart and Sheena, all people that we can partner with to do different things, and we can not only work together but refer each other, right? Because we all
Right.
have different strengths. The other thing that you have is, that dedicated time to pull together content. That content generator, honestly, one of the best tools ever. All right. I'm just going to say it. That tool, which I'm still working on, by the way, y'all, because I can be a good procrastinator, but we do have a version of a content generator. So, it's been very helpful to help me create growth in my brain and
Mhm.
my heart, and figure out what are some good themes we can leverage, how to do these things. I've actually done the most blogs in the last 6 weeks than I've done in a few years. We'll just leave it at that. And we're putting socials around it and building it. So I think the structure
I
that
think
you've
you've gotten a lot of clarity. I mean, this is just from
clarity.
the outside looking in, right? So,
Yeah,
from me, like you were, when you first came into mastery, it felt like you were like, well, I know I needed to be doing this, but I don't know where to go.
yeah,
And so I really love how you've brought that together, and started to think about how your team will fit into that too. So I think that's just really powerful.
definitely.
Um, and that's really important, because we can't do it all ourselves, right?
Amen.
And even if you are a
Absolutely not.
solopreneur, which is fine, a virtual assistant, or like Devana was my first, step in that direction.
Yeah.
I was a solopreneur, and I started to bring Devana in on some projects, and I started with her, bringing her in on some client projects. But then I realized I needed to put that into my own business too. So now she does a lot of she does a lot of the behind the scenes work for Social Media Breakfast at this point. She
Right.
is the behind the scenes, like Wizard of Oz guy. So
Yeah, we have a person, she's not with us full time, and actually she just got
Mhm.
promoted in another job, but she's still like, we're lucky. Everybody who's worked with us and has full-time jobs, and
Mhm.
even moves to those with more responsibilities, they are still working with us. So we're so lucky and grateful
Well,
for
and
that.
I love that. I mean, I do attract people that like the
Mhm.
long-term community building. Um, that's really what this group is about. So if you're a person who loves to build community, that you love to grow with others, smart social mastery is really for you. And we
Yeah,
keep the price point below $100 a month so that it's quite affordable, honestly.
right.
Um, I don't know. You're in some other programs that I'm sure are not. They're a little more pricey. Can you tell them
Yeah,
that?
I'm in another one. It's much more PR focused, and I love it, and it's so good, but actually, we're about to have another team member come back on, and I'll probably transfer that over to her because it's so good, but, she had to step back for a little bit due to mommy duties, so
Yeah.
she'll be back, actually, 2 weeks,
I
and,
love that you're gonna build up your team. I love that idea too. Like, again, bringing your team along. So that's the other thing about Smart Social Mastery is it kind of grows with you, right?
great.
Um, and we also talk about mindset a lot
Yes,
at
mindset
Inshina.
is so important, and Cami, you bring some fun tools into your teaching
Mhm.
that really help with us think through mindset, or like, I know, tell us about was it the dragon that we did a while back? Or do you want to talk about a tiny second about the cards you used the other day? I
Oh,
think the
yeah, probably the dragon is amazing too,
dragons are
yeah,
good.
we talked I right now I've got in my head the sailboat, right? So,
Yes.
the sailboat, which is right here beside me on my desk, but, um, I'll bring in a lot of techniques that other people have gotten. So, the sailboat was created, they put it on here by Luke Hobman, I guess, came up with this, but this right here is the sailboat, and the idea is that you're looking at your goal and the island that you're going to. So your boat is like your project or whatever, and the goal is really much bigger than that. So a lot of times we're like, I have to launch this thing or I have to do that thing, but what in service of what? To what end?
Right.
Right? To
Like,
what
how are you
end are
gonna
you going
get
to
that
be
boat to
putting this
the
in?
island?
Mhm. The island. Yeah, the island. So and then we talk about the anchors that are blocking us from reaching the island.
Yep.
And a lot of the anchors were not even they're sort of just excuses, right?
Yep. And well, the one that kind of smacked me in the face, I was really
Mhm.
surprised. And it took me about 1 minute to talk through it with Susie. And then we had our solution. I was done. I was like, what? And it was about posting more consistently and who's going to do it. It was that fast, that simple. And it just took me going through that with you the other day to kind of bring
Right.
that to the surface.
And see, here's the funny thing, and this is just one thing I'm going to put in. Like when we put together our to-do list, we often put a big thing on. So for example, I have to launch Instant Authority this week. Okay. I was having some technical problems with it right before I came on with the stuff. So Instant Authority, it's getinstantauthority.com. We're going to be doing some workshops in a couple of weeks where you're going to make, 90 days worth of content in a very short period of time. It's like kind of magical. And if you've never done it with me, great. I would love you to be there. Let me know you want to come and I'll make sure you get it, but it'll be ready later today. If you go there now, you'll be like, I can't register, but it will be in about an hour. I'll have it ready. So that's the thing, is you have to have like a connection with people to move forward together, is my opinion. I feel like we move forward together faster. And so we do a lot of that. We do not do a lot of teaching. It's the same principles. And then we just look at them like it's like holding up a glass and looking at it from different angles.
Yeah.
So we're
Right.
looking for ways to trick your brain and get you to look at things in just a slightly different way. So sometimes, like as I said, we have a whole thing like instant authority, and I'll put it on my to-do list. Like I have to do instant authority, but the truth is it's about 100 smaller tasks, right? And so if any one of those are stopping me, I may stop the whole project sometimes because I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I'll get to it later. I can't. I have
Right.
a concept called the Friday list, right? Do you remember the Friday list?
As Friday list or Friday follow up or follow up Friday or what? whatever it may
Yeah.
be. I
The
think
idea is that every Friday you get to the end of the week, you look at your to-do list
yes,
and you make
yep,
your to-do list for the next week, and the tasks that are there to give you visibility always get moved to the next week.
I know, and it's terrible. And like one of my favorite, I'm going to give a shout out to somebody here, Catherine Brown.
Mm,
How
yeah.
Good Humans Sell. She's brilliant in terms of teaching sales and really helping people get out of the slime of sales and cheese, the slime and cheese of it. She's so good. Go find her on LinkedIn, Catherine Brown with the C. And
She's
she
amazing.
talks about Follow Up Friday. And she's like, look, do all those things, pick up the phone, write that email, do that text, and just set it aside every Friday. And and you'd be surprised. People are around Friday afternoons. They don't want to do hard work. They'll talk to you. They'll set up a meeting with you.
Yeah.
Do it. So I have found that to be true. So I try to do that every Friday. I don't do it quite every Friday, but do it regularly.
Well, I
So
mean, this is not about perfection, by the
no,
way, either.
no.
Right. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You need to do an instant authority. Yes, Anne, you need to come join us. The dates are going to be the 13th and the 15th of September, and it's going to go from 11 to 1. So, like right over lunch, sort
yeah.
of. It's a 2-hour period. I promise you, if you come and do that, you will have huge results, like huge results in a very short period of time.
And are these
Um,
virtual or in person, Cami? I can't remember.
it's virtual. It's on
Oh,
Zoom.
Cindy, nice. She knows Catherine. Okay.
Yes, I didn't know you knew her. That's
Brilliant.
cool.
Cami, don't forget to mention,
I see.
if you come into the Smart Social, right,
Uh-huh.
that you have the hub where we have access to the information
Yes.
and it doesn't all just happen, but we can go back and look at it and can continue to do more.
Yes. So
So,
we do have a hub, and the hub has all the videos, and it's all searchable. Like, so you can search it by keywords as well. And there is a pathway. And we also have a really awesome success path tracker. And the success path tracker helps you to know exactly where you are and what you need to work on next. And I give coaching to you guys one-on-one most weeks. Like, we're not a huge group, we're not giant. So, and I never really want to be hundreds of people or anything. I mean, if we could have, yeah.
I think we
um,
have 6 or so now, but
yeah, right now we're
we
kind of
have
small.
more.
So it's just time to open it back up for
Mhm.
those of you who want to join us. And again, I try to charge just enough to keep my team working on this and keep me working on this, and just enough I'd like it to replace one client. That's kind of how I think about Smart Social Mastery. Um, you're one of my clients. That's how I think of it. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think I'm glad that you focused on people, in our field. I think that's very smart because we all try to support each other. But I think the way that you're putting this out here is just so valuable. And I cannot emphasize that enough. If you ask Suzy, she'll tell you, I'm like, oh my gosh, I learned this, we're doing this. And then she's seen me writing blogs. I'm like, you'd be so proud of me. I'm writing all these blogs.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But
And
so
we're learning how to responsibly also use ChatGPT, and we're
yes.
looking at like all of
Brilliant.
the cutting edge things, and we look
Yep.
at, the new when things change on social media, we talk about them and we talk about what's working, what's not. We probably could do a little bit more of that. We probably will in this next couple of weeks. But yeah, so Smart Social Mastery will be open after Instant Authority. And so it's a good way for you to come see Instant Authority is a good way for you to come see if you like working with me.
It's fun. Right, right. And also, and I would say the time, isn't the time is manageable and you go at your own pace. So, but I do think the instant authority is fun and you'll get that content generator. So go do it.
Yes.
I'll probably come back and do it too. Do some more.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the cool thing about the pathway to mastery is that if you understand mastery, it's a certain number of hours you have to put into any kind of field to become great at it. And
Right.
so it's a circular path, right? So it goes all the way from, all of the pieces of the path, and then you level up. You
Yeah.
level up. That's the idea, right? Is that you level up.
Right. And for me, it's been leveling up a little bit across the board on each path, if you will, and each part of the path. But the idea
And Sandy
is
asked for to get instant authority
to
linked.
be regularly consistent.
Yes.
That might be
So consistency is so important.
It is,
And
and that's where it's helping a lot.
the other thing about being consistent that I think is really interesting when you're trying to build your online authority is it's not necessarily always about just content, although you do need to have what I call thought leadership or, visibility content. However, what it is about is connecting. So, by the way, Sandy, this is the link. And I said again, let me just iterate. It's not working right this second. It'll be working by this afternoon. I had a little snafu this morning with the sequences, and that's the other thing. We also are cool with people making mistakes. That's the other part about our group is we are not like you have to be perfect and you have to be all buttoned up because you don't. You just have to be a person that people can relate to in the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I
That's
would
a
love
good
to have you. And Sandy, I'll send you the link when it's live for sure. And any of you who really want to do this and you're like, I won't think of it later, just DM me or put it in the comments and I'll make sure that I send you a quick DM with the link when it's live. So, all right. So, couple of things, kind of power questions, and then we'll move out. So what's your big, hairy, audacious goal for 2024? So we talk about that. It's a big goal that scares you a little.
Oh, there's so many of those. I mean, Suzy and I over the years have developed stretch goals that scared us. And, that's okay. I think for the business, I would love to, as we are just having such a good year so far and growing, I'd love to double our business next year if we can. And when we can, not if. I think that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. I think what goes along with that, though, is now that I'm building my confidence in how to do the social, all of this. I mean, we're going to build an email behind this. We're going to do some other things. Like right now, we're just trying to get more consistent and starting with blogs and social. And then we're just going to start building more of the tools, right? Building those out and using them to build our audience and be more consistent. But I think all of that is going to help us get to where we want to be in our own thought leadership. I mean, we talk to people all the time. And I mean, what do we do for our clients, right? Duh. Yeah. So I think I just did a blog about that about a month and a half ago. Yeah. So thanks to you and getting it rolling. And I think doubling our business, why not? And Suzy, there you have it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that you have that goal.
Why not?
So, couple of things about Smart Social Mastery before we roll out. Just you've already kind of said what you enjoy about it, so I'm not going to go too deep in that again. But tell me, like when you first started, what your primary concern was with joining it. Like, why would you have what were you thinking? Like, should I do this or not?
Well, I wanted to join that first cohort, but I was like, oh, I'm already doing this other thing and I won't have time. I found a lot of excuses. I won't have time. It's not for me. I'm not the one who does the social. Like I kind of disowned it and detached. It was, there may have been a little bit of a cost objection, but not much. I mean, certainly not at all. Right. It wasn't that. It was more like, I don't have the time or I can't do this or I'm not, it's voodoo. But it's not really voodoo once you start getting into it. It's pretty straightforward. So, Anne, I know you're laughing over there, but
so. True. I mean, it's cheaper kind of than like a lunch out, with your in a nice restaurant. So
it is. It's definitely cheaper than a lunch out, and I think I would say do it. I'm so glad I'm in it. My confidence is so much better and higher, and like. Just getting in. And I think your sections on ChatGPT that we did hands-on were brilliant. And like, oh, that's such a smart way to query. And because you'd already tested it all. And some of it was pretty hilarious when you go test it on your own. But, it's how you learn. And I think, Molly, you were talking about mistakes. That also applies to GPT and ChatGPT. So, yeah, Molly and I go back a ways too. So
yes, you do. Yeah, you guys work together as well. So
with a previous employer,
and I work with Molly too. We all
just got back in touch in the last few weeks. So fun, Molly. You got to come over and we'll all do a happy hour or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're ever in town, let us know. So again, getinstantauthority.com. Those of you who are watching this in replay, it probably will be ready for you. Those of you who are watching right in live, I will be getting that to you shortly. I'm just setting up the sequences. There was a sequence that kept messing up, so I'm going to fix it. But that will be done here in a few minutes. And I really appreciate you coming, Becky, today to talk about your experience with Smart Social Mastery and with our group, because you are just such a treasured part of our community that and mine, and have been a treasured part of my community for years. So I just appreciate that you took this time today.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to leave these people with about, what's in it for them?
Oh, I think what's in it for you is you will build your skills and your confidence that will help you build your business and also build the community around you. And I think it's fun, and just come on and do it. Come on down.
It's probably my favorite part of the day or the week is like meeting with y'all and just catching up and making sure that everybody's like moving forward. To me, that's just, I live off that.
Yeah. And the energy in the group is also nice. Like I get tidbits from Sheena and Bart, and
they all learn from each other.
Like everybody, like all our guys and gals. It's just so, who am I missing? There's so many people that I haven't seen in a minute. That's why. But they're,
you have to come join us, Molly.
Love you, Malls. Join the course, Molly. Do it.
Do it. We would love to have you. All right, guys. That's it. You stay with me. I'll talk to you in the green room, but all of the rest of you, go on, do something today, get something done. Don't just talk about it, actually take action. So I would love to hear if you take any action today. Go out and talk to somebody on social media, share somebody else's content, leave a nice comment. You've already done your amazing work today by coming here and helping us out so we don't feel alone. So I really appreciate all of you. And thank you so much for being here today. Take care. Bye.